All right, so let's do the key moments in the State of the Union. We're a little bit behind here, but it's fine. I mean, there's only 12 minutes. Let's just walk through. Okay, no, actually, before we get into it, okay.
Yeah.
So, what letter grade do you give Biden on this State of the Union?
Uh, Probably a B. I found it to be.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Because I thought you loved it. I thought you loved it.
Oh no, I did, but like overall, like there's still a whole lot more things that could have been like way better. And upon rewatch, because I initially watched it on, um, uh, excuse me, Vosh's live stream, and found it to be like pretty compelling and energetic because I didn't expect I expected just like your run of the mill like here's what we're doing and here's how the current like state of the country is in, but no, he actually came out and was loud and just demanded
Yeah.
your attention, and like he was cutting to the chase, and he was sticking it to the Republicans time and time again. Like he pointed out their hypocrisy and just poked fun at them, like openly mocked them for their not only hypocrisy but their obstruction and their unwillingness to accept the accomplishments that they would be proud of championing, like the border thing. Like he directly pointed out the fact that Trump reached out to Republicans in Congress not to support the bill that they fronted, that they were putting forward and wanted passed because it would have given them everything that they've been asking for on the border. But Biden knows that they would never have gone through with that because it would have been seen as a Biden win, a Biden victory, and it would have reflected on his ability to be bipartisan and work with both sides of the aisle to pass something, even though it was a horrible bill and was very, very extremist.
Hmm.
But Trump did not want that. He wanted to fearmonger. He wanted to campaign on the border for 2024. They don't want an actual success. They don't want the a bill getting passed because they won't be able to rile up their base. And he took full advantage of that. Well, I mean, there were multiple moments in the State of the Union that he took advantage of using conservative rhetoric against them, and just flipping everything on its head. And he was very impressive in the way he crafted a lot of his statements in that regard. So like overall, I was impressed because another thing, I know I'm going on and on about this here, but for months and months he has been quiet. He has been low energy. He hasn't really been full frontal on his campaign, and there's a lot of rhetoric in the media about how he's too old. He's just not there. Like maybe his heart's not in it. He's not like pushing back on the rhetoric that's going against him. But this State of the Union basically like flipped all of that rhetoric on its head because he only fumbled like a handful of times, but it wasn't like too big of a deal. He was loud and energetic and got like he made point after point after point like his successes and what he wants to do with his second term, and he utilized all energy he could muster in like just a perfect amount of time throughout. Like he did exactly what he needed to do, and that's I mean that's saying something. A lot of people were like, um, what if it was Obama giving this speech? Would it be like equally as good? And I think it would. I think it would.
Really?
Yeah. There were a few things that were I was like, okay, like he called someone an illegal, and
Yeah.
that was kind of very
During the
cringeworthy.
Lincoln, it was during the Lincoln Riley thing where he
Yeah,
finally, or Laken Riley, whatever her name is.
yeah. The someone who got murdered by an undocumented immigrant,
Right.
and yeah. So
Yeah, it's
like,
funny. When I was watching that, I was like, "Oh, that's a cringe moment. People aren't going to
yeah.
like that on the far left." And my wife was like, "I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, it's a gaffe, but it's not like
No,
dropping a
it's
worse epithet. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of bad. It's like it's kind of 40 years old, you know?
yeah. It's the fact like he. I mean, people need to remember where he comes from. Like he's been around for a long time, so that kind of vernacular is not uncommon for his time, I guess you could say,
Right.
and yeah, there was a lot of a decent amount of placating to conservative rhetoric on issues like that that like is I mean I understand it. He's trying to like appeal to Nikki Haley voters and try to court some disenfranchised conservatives who don't want Trump. But at the same time, you could be doing a whole lot more to placate to younger voters. And I think on that he didn't really. There wasn't enough there to appeal to disenfranchised progressives. There wasn't enough there. Like he did mention the project that's now underway about like building a pier, a seaport in the
In
Mediterranean
Gaza.
for
Yeah.
Gaza and providing aid there. But it's almost too little, too late. Like by the time the project is done, like there's going to be thousands upon thousands of more people dead. There's malnutrition, there's people starving, there's people dying in hospitals. Like even if the bombing stops, like it's still going to be the bodies are still going to pile. There's disease, there's famine. Like dogs are literally eating bodies of dead Palestinians, like because the stray dogs have nothing to eat either. It's an absolute friggin' nightmare. So like the biggest takeaway I have is like, okay, the rhetoric's fiery, the rhetoric is really good, but it has to be reflected in actual actions. You have to fight back against the Republicans. You have to call their bluff. You have to utilize the power that you actually have to get what you want done. So like, if the actions can back the rhetoric, then I'm all for it, honestly.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. This is not stylistically any different for Biden. This is who Biden is. This is who Biden has always been. He
Yeah.
is a compromiser. He is a centrist. He is an
Yeah.
incrementalist.
Yep.
And he's a capitulator with the issue of immigration.
Big
I
time.
mean, this crisis, quote unquote, in the southern
It's
border
not a
is
crisis.
not a
Yeah.
crisis. It's the same thing that we've been dealing with for years and years and years. And
Yeah.
if you want to get an overhaul of the whole system, that's fine. Let's talk about what that looks like. But this idea that it's all or nothing that the Republicans try to make it, where we just got to shut it all down. And it's like, no, I mean, the problem with the border is not so different from the Middle East in that nobody believes what they're being told.
Right.
Nobody believes that, you know, a lot of people don't believe that Israel is committing genocide,
Yeah.
even though there's videos and
Of course.
all sorts of social media stuff. Go ahead, what are you going to say?
No, you're completely right, and like I think slowly but surely, a lot of people, particularly normies, are beginning to wake up just to how bad things are in Gaza. Like there's a whole lot more coming out about children starving, like images of just skeletal dead remains of children because they have no food, and that's all starting to surface, and like that's just going to come out more and more and more as time goes on. And like if anything, like the more that happens, the more people are going to be just like completely shocked and just woken up to the horrors, because like for months and months, progressives and people in the region, people who like outside of like the mainstream media, have been screaming about the atrocities being committed, about how bad it actually is in Gaza, and eh, like and a lot of the propagandists on the Israeli side are it's Hollywood. It's all manufactured. Like the dead bodies that you see of children, it's not real.
Yeah.
Like these are all actors and actresses and whatnot. I mean, it's kind of hard to fake,
Yeah.
being a starved to death child. So like that kind of like shielding and like deflecting like kind of propaganda on the Israeli side, it can only go so far. Like it can
Yeah.
only it can only be repeated so many times until people are like, okay, this is just like the boy who cried wolf. Like, what's
Yeah.
actually going on, you know? So, I mean, I'm optimistic, but it's still a very very grim, very very bleak situation, to say the least.
Israel Gaza is obviously a huge distraction, a huge ball and chain on this country right now,
Oh yeah.
and we needed some serious leadership. I think the word Zionism is on the ropes,
Hmm.
and it is used to have a very positive connotation,
Hmm.
and now thanks to people like Jen Perelman, who's running for office from Generational Change that we covered last week,
Hmm.
people like that in higher positions of influence, or just in general, the mob, right? The mob mentality is like, wait a second, maybe Zionism isn't so great. Look at what Zionism is producing. And you're
Right.
hearing these other governments come out and condemn the Israeli government. And it's like, why aren't we doing it?
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, it's a huge problem. The younger voters care a lot. Unfortunately, back to Biden and his style, they the old school blue dog Democrat methodology for winning elections is working backwards from the likely voters, from people that have voted before. It
Yeah.
is not to inspire new voters. It is
Right.
not to get people to vote for the first time. That is a secondary consideration. The
Yeah.
primary consideration is given to the established likely voters, and those people are older.
Yeah.
They're like 40 plus.
Right.
I mean, if you're over 40, or even like, I mean, I'd love to see some charts. I should be able to get some at some point and have a look to see what the participation numbers, if there's a breakdown out there, I'm going to have a look for it. But yeah, it sucks that it's just a traditional, it's almost a conservative approach to strategy, really.
It
It's
really is.
saying, we know this is what we know we can do. Let's just continue to
No
do
kidding.
this.
Yeah, like Democrats, conservative, no way. Not them.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and not to mention, so much of the party um, is like so many of the party's members are funded directly by APAC, and APAC controls the narrative when it comes to Israeli exceptionalism. Like, and it's rampant within both parties, honestly. And until that's done away with, and we're starting to see movement on that front from like Justice Dems and Our Revolution. They're starting to fight back against just the overwhelming power that APAC has, because they're literally funding against the strongest progressive representatives that we have right now. So like
Hmm.
until that actually changes, like I mean, uh, we can't. I mean, their power can only go so far, because right now I think it's like 75% of the Democratic Party like electorate agrees with a ceasefire. Like they want a ceasefire to happen. So and we keep on seeing protests everywhere. The Oscars had to
Yeah.
be delayed because of a
Yeah.
pro-Palestinian protest. Like
Yeah.
at, there's a protester at, I think there's some protesters at some recent Biden rally as well. So like it's prevalent. It's definitely like it's not some niche thing. It's not some obscure thing. Like this
No.
actually matters to people, and Democrats need to really take note of that, because this is not going to go any away anytime soon.
But they won't. They won't cave. They will stick with APAC because APAC is so powerful.
And they have
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of
I think they're like this. I think they're the second most powerful pack. I
yeah.
think behind the NRA.
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We should know that. All right. Should we give Mr. Biden his due?
Yeah.
And
Let's.
okay, so I actually thought that I would actually give him a relative grade of an A minus.
Okay.
I think this is absolutely pretty much close to as good as he could have done. He surprised me with the off-the-cuff comments. I thought he
Yeah.
did real nice with those.
Right.
I thought he, there was. Well, we'll get into once. Hopefully, they cover this one specific moment. If not, I'll find it.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to let this run for a minute. I'm going to hit the head while we
Sure.
do this. I'll be right back.
Sounds
I
good.
come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War
Is that some
have
dude
freedom
on
and
Twitter?
democracy been under
What's that
assault
dude
at
on his
home
phone? In the
as they are
what
today.
the hell?
What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march,
Oh, yeah, this is
invading
like
Ukraine
early on in the,
and sowing
in the-
chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. Wasn't long ago
Yeah.
when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down
And
this
it's
wall."
the Republican Party that refuses to continue funding
Now.
Ukraine, which is really crucial.
Isn't it funny that the only actor to ever be president was a Republican?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Oh man, Reagan! Everybody needs to know those 8 years, man. Those 8 years were just completely redesigned our economy and our fundamental understanding of how you go about growing an economy.
Yep.
My God.
Yep.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is a moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors,
that's actually a
forcing
good
survivors.
line.
I wish they had.
That's a good
Yeah,
line.
I wish they had showed the applause after that one. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
You can't love your country only when you win. It's beautiful.
It's a great line, and yeah, understandably, like they, I mean, just to save time, like applause is just applause, but yeah, there was a big.
But I'm saying
response
that
to
was
for
like
sure.
one of the best lines
Oh,
of
yeah.
the night.
Big
Like,
time.
That's all I'm saying. Is
Completely
that was
agree.
by far one. That was like top, maybe
Yeah.
top one.
Yeah, probably
Survivors
the
of
best,
rape
yeah.
and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away?
Another
Look,
good line, yeah.
it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
All right. So he
like
botches
the-
that. This is
yeah.
on one. This is on 1.5 speed, so he actually sounds a lot more with it. But
Yeah, that's how I first listened to it. Yeah, and he's talking directly to the justices right here too. It's just like shame on you guys.
Well, what I was going to say was, this is kind of historic to actually directly address the Supreme Court with criticism like this, with explicit criticism
Yes.
of like, yo, you're fucking with democracy.
Yeah, like
Like,
seriously.
you're fucking with you're fucking with women's freedom. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but it's just how I honestly feel. I feel like, you know, because we're a diverse society, we get caught up in racial identity and racial conflict and ethnic identities and histories and the anthropological stuff in our country And right, it's understandable. It's a beautiful thing, our diversity. But maybe it sucks us in a little bit with our attention, and we don't pay attention to the most basic division in all of humanity, and that is the division between men and women. As conservative as I was growing up, I might have said that I was pro-life, but I never actually believed it because I could never quite get there as like
Yeah.
I could never get past the truth, the obvious truth that I can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
I am not vulnerable in that way.
Right.
I have no idea. Maybe that was the beginning of my like empathetic journey, and I didn't even realize it at the time. But because I didn't have any sisters, all I had was a mother. It was an all-male high school, so
Yeah.
I had every reason, and that's probably why I verbally said a number of times that I was pro-life. But deep down inside, like I was just doing that for show, and probably out of loyalty to my religious mother. I didn't really believe it. Like if I ever had the opportunity to vote on it, I would have totally voted for women to be able to choose. Because what the hell do we know?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
We're not
What
women.
the
Yeah,
hell do we
exactly.
know?
Yeah. That's literally all it comes down to. Exactly.
It's not complicated.
It's not.
It's not complicated. It's just,
Yeah.
it's really narcissistic.
No,
it's hard to
yeah.
believe that narcissism is this pronounced in our society,
Mm-hmm.
but here it is. I'm so important. I'm going to go save fetuses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, but you won't put in the social services afterwards to take care of them. You just want to feel like you're God. That's
Yeah.
the biggest sin any Christian can commit, is wanting to be God. And now the Supreme Court is guilty of that sin too.
Clearly. Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. Before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses? Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind? A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news, but in 1,000 cities and towns, the American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told. Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class.
Middle class is, there's a saying in Hollywood, you'll never go broke with kids, meaning if you can get something made for kids, it'll probably make money.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
And I think the Democratic politics equivalent is like, you'll never go broke with the middle class. You'll never go broke talking about the middle class because they decide elections. Kind of.
I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America.
Now, if I had been writing the speech, it would have been nice to have heard some examples there. Just like, what do we do when this happened? What do we do when that happened? But, again, what are you working with here? You got to work within the limitations of your talent. And Biden's pretty limited. But it would have been nice in the hands of a better speaker to kind of rattle off a bunch of examples there of America kicking ass. Because that always lands. And you can even get that on Fox News. You could, the patriotism stuff, like, it has a place. And it's not even necessarily patriotism. It's just kind of, hey, we did this right. Why can't we do everything right?
Right. And that's kind of where, like, a lot of my philosophy comes from. Like, if we, like, and what I appreciate about Biden is that, like, he actually taps into that, that patriotic energy. Like, because he clearly loves this country, and he knows how to play into that adoration, for lack of a better word, for this country and what it stands for, And like, my name is Stateless Patriot. Like, I think it's not it's not an immoral thing, I guess you could say, to want to root for the success of essentially your birthplace, the place you reside. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like of course, um, I'm not committed to one uh, uh, place or the other. Like my patriotism, like it defies boundaries and borders. Like wherever you are, like if you deserve a life of dignity and success and happiness and liberty for crying out loud.
FDR's second Bill of Rights.
Please, yes. So like
FDR's second Bill of Rights.
so like I definitely have like a modicum of respect when it comes to playing into patriotism, as long as it's done right, because there are those obviously that weaponize it in order to diminish rights and incorporate a nefarious agenda, and I don't subscribe to
I would
that.
just loop it back to my original point, which is that if you want to be exceptional, then
That's
do something exceptional.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Come
it.
on,
Yep.
America, let's earn it.
Yes.
And I mean, the time is going to come, dude. Once Biden's gone, man,
I
the
hope
baby
so.
boomer generation. That's the episode I can't wait to publish because I think it might go viral. I mean, it really, if there is one specific form of conservatism that you can pin everything on and like it will resonate in a way politically that I think could affect elections in states that are pretty red, are red but used to be blue.
That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is bright. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, it's still a very big deal.
I guess so.
A policy that came out of the Heritage Foundation.
Literally, it used to be Romney Care.
Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. Well, my predecessor, and many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen.
Okay, are you going to expand it? Are you going to improve upon it? Are you going to build it up better? Because some of us are shelling out tons of money for individual insurance. I mean, there's
insane.
the best reason to go to work right now is to get your health insurance paid for.
God, really?
It's
though.
ridiculous. Now that I'm getting into my late 30s, I'm about to turn 40. I mean, my premiums go up, a couple $100 every year, whatever, and that's been the case for 10 years now.
Yeah.
So you do the math. I mean,
Ridiculous.
it's absurd. Like, great. Thank you, Obamacare. It doesn't apply to me. I can't get Obamacare. I need
Right.
good quality individual health insurance for
Right.
me and my wife. And I don't think I should have to spend over $1,000 a month on it
No kidding. Medicare for all.
or something better.
Yeah.
Remember, we're doing political marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Medicare for all had its day, and now we need to resurrect it, and it's got to be better than it was.
I mean,
so
even- I mean-
Medicare for all or something better, because I tell
Yeah.
you what, dude, I know some doctors, and a lot of good doctors don't like Medicare. They won't even take Medicare. A lot of them are so good, they'll be like, hey, you want my services? Pay out of pocket. That's what I'm worth. And a lot of people do.
Right. Yeah.
We stopped you 50
I'm
times
just
before, and
saying,
we'll stop you
I
again.
may, if I may just real quick, he actually ran on a public option, and I don't even think we've seen like any momentum on even that front whatsoever. Like
No. It's all or nothing with healthcare. We need to liquidate the
Right.
health insurance company. Enough. We
I
need to all be
completely
in
agree.
it together. We need to pool resources, and we need to restructure our economy. Like, everything is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are parts of this country that have not seen economic prosperity in 40 years.
Right.
And there are still people like living there, and my heart goes out to them, but those are the people that keep voting conservative, or voting Republican,
Yeah.
and being conservative. So
and I agree. Like complete, like radical transformative change is absolutely necessary.
New Deal 2.0.
Yeah, but you know how Biden works. You know how a lot of these people work, and you said it yourself, like incremental change. Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
But that's what I want the difference between neoliberalism and progressivism to rest on, is I
Yes.
want progressivism to be synonymous with structuralism, and I want neoliberalism to be synonymous with incrementalism.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like there's a lot of people between, our ages. That's a huge baby boomer offspring generation. My dad was a member of the silent generation, and my mom is a boomer. But I'm, they're young. I was an accident. That they're older. I have older parents. My point is that the people that are younger than me were the offspring of the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Or the people that are my age are usually their parents were baby boomers.
Right.
And now it's time to hold them to account.
Yeah.
Because they presided over these problems getting worse. They literally fixed nothing. Everything got better. I mean, I guess you pointed out that crime has gotten better, but I mean, other than that, I mean, I could come up with 10 issues that every single one of them has gotten not only worse, but extremely bad since 1980. Here we go.
Of course.
Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you.
Again, we're playing defense.
The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do.
This
it's
is
not
good.
fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal.
Yes.
Oh, no. You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut?
This is it. I'm doing backflips. I'm doing backflips. If I'm on his staff right now, I'm like,
that?
oh, baby.
What's that? What's that, Republicans?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You're not in
that's
favor of tax cuts for the rich? Oh, okay, for sure. I'm not sure what you're billing for. Like, yeah.
Look at this white trash
what a
dumbass
clown.
right here
Oh
with
my
his
God.
with his
no kidding.
with his Trump shirt on.
Jeez.
What a disgrace.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're such trash.
good moment from Biden though. I was like, damn, yes, stick it to him. Like, God damn it.
Let's hear it again.
That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share. In November, my team began serious negotiations with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. The Border Patrol unions endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is... Yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know.
I know you don't like those. You don't like facts. I know you... Go ahead.
This is stand-up comedy level audience interaction. He's like, oh. I mean, so there's a saying in really good stand-up comedy that the most important thing in stand-up comedy is your relationship with the audience.
Yeah.
Which means that if you get like a reaction to something, for example, in one of my bits, I start out in a southern accent, and when I first come on stage, and then I start talking normally like this, and I usually get someone in the audience to be like, oh, wait, what? Now I'm like, yeah, I don't actually talk like that. And that gets an easy laugh. And so, but he's like picking up on stuff, man. He's like, yeah, that's what I read. I'm not an idiot.
I actually like being as receptive as he is and just going off script really plays into his favor because like he's always harped on as just like sticking to the teleprompter and just fumbling over his words, having too many gaffes and whatnot. And he was pretty much like just on fire all night. Like there wasn't really any serious.
There was some mouth moments.
Of course.
There was some like the women thing, the reproductive rights in the Supreme Court. Like he didn't really nail that, but everyone knew what he meant.
Right. He stumbled a little bit during the Israel-Gaza part.
I tell you what, I don't know if they're going to show it, but Marjorie Taylor Greene bailed him out when he was about to go down, spiral out of control. Yeah, we'll see if they show it.
She literally did.
I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill.
That's what I'm talking about.
He feels political win. He viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner, not really.
Right here. This is it. She saved his ass. Like
Lincoln Riley. An innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals?
Yeah, so right here.
To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
He was going to say that
if we
like,
change
about
the dynamic at the
so
border,
he was about to go down.
An innocent young woman who was killed.
Where is it?
I'd be a winner, not really. It's not about him. It's not
That
about me.
would have been no. That okay.
I'd be a winner. Not really.
Like
He's funny,
she literally saved him right there because
Saved him.
Like that was probably going to be his worst gaffe of the night because he was trying to say it would be a winner. He was talking about the border bill. It would be a winner for who knows what
Everybody,
the, next
the nation or whatever.
He just moved on to the shit that Marjorie Taylor Greene was shouting about because I guess like before, like as he was walking up to the podium, when he was like introduced and like was walking through the crowd greeting everybody, she actually came up to him and gave him that little pen. I think I'm pretty sure that's what she gave him, but the one that said Lincoln Riley on it, who was killed by undocumented immigrant. Yeah, no, if she had just shut the fuck up right there, like he would have just slipped and fell. Like honestly, it would have had a big gaffe right there. So funny, like she's so funny and just absolutely insane.
She's an idiot.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegal?
Don't say illegal.
To her parents, I
Yeah,
say,
dude, come on, man. It's some boomer stuff
I
right there.
understand. But look,
I guess he's a silent
if we
generation
change the
guy, though, 'cause
dynamic
he's
at the
as old as
border,
my dad is.
People pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the borders because they
of
know
silent
if they
generation.
get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing, and it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only
makes a good
6
point
months,
right
6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money
people
and
know
come
that.
all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest
Why doesn't he talk about pragmatism? Why doesn't he talk about this is about problems and solutions? You guys want to make it about illegals. You want to make it about illegal versus legal. So shift the framing. We talked about this. Shift the framing. It's not about illegal versus legal. It's a matter of the system being screwed up in terms of the way it processes immigrants.
Yeah, it's all the Republicans have too, because like every time there's election, like every time there's a midterms, now
They bring it up.
The border is
Yeah.
the biggest deal in the friggin' world right now. We're being invaded. Someone needs to do something, and then the opportunity comes to actually do something, and they reject it. Because
when I was a kid, it was the war on drugs and war on crime. And that's what it was. That was their go-tos when I was a kid. And the southern border was in there a little bit. But, it's become the ultimate trump card. I mean, rightfully so. That was the first issue he launched his campaign on.
Yes, my Republican friends owe it to the American people. Get this bill done. We need to act now. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing this. Meanwhile,
You can't talk about new gun laws without talking about the NRA.
my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Stop it.
I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Yeah. Woo!
Pass universal background checks.
Make it a campaign issue.
None of this.
Make it a
None of
campaign
this.
issue.
I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years.
All the
None of this
Republicans
violates
on
the Second
their
Amendment
phones tweeting
or
through
vilifies responsible gun owners. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters.
I'm glad that
No
this
U.S.
right
boots will be
here-
on the ground.
I'm-
A temporary
yeah.
pier will enable a massive...
I would love to see this technology, by the way, because I know a thing or two about piers and docks, and putting together a physical bridge between the beach and deep enough into the water for like a big ship to go.
Yeah.
Just anybody can think about that and think
causeway.
that, wow, that's pretty damn hard.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's going to take a while.
It
So
is.
maybe they have some sophisticated technology that makes it more efficient to do, but building a pier for like shipping ships.
Yeah.
For like big ship, big. I don't know if they're going to do.
Like a makeshift seaport.
I can't imagine he's talking about. He's not talking about container ships, but he's talking about big ass boats with a lot of stuff to get stuff off onto trucks. So you're gonna have trucks on this pier.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It just seems a little far fetched to me that it's gonna happen anytime soon.
Especially given the fact that I mean, they say they're looking at 60 days, and that's way too. That's way too far away. It needs to be a lot more immediate. In the meantime, airdrops need to be way more frequent, because the people of Gaza don't have 60 days. They don't even have 30 days.
No,
they're out of time. They're completely out of time for this. I do want.
Dude, I don't mean to be
the
prince of darkness here, but like the Gazans are toast.
Yeah.
I mean, Israel, it's over.
Yeah.
Israel smoked them.
Yeah. Basically.
Israel had their chance, and they smoked them.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they're going to go, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but this is what a lot of, I would call, like, Trump trash Israelis have always wanted.
Yes.
This is what they've always wanted.
Yeah.
This is hate. This is the hate of institutionalized religion.
Yes.
Coming to roost.
Exactly. I do want to say, I'm glad that out of, because there's this little section right here is a bit longer, but the highlight, because he's talking about Gaza right now. Before this, he was talking about the attack by Hamas and Israel and standing with Israel and blah blah blah. But he's talking specifically about what he wants to do to help Gaza. And he's talking directly about what the plan is in setting up this makeshift pier, this makeshift seaport for getting emergency supplies into Gaza. I'm glad that this is the main focus of this particular part of the address. You go ahead.
He's just so late to the party on this one, though, man. I mean, this is
know.
about 4 months too late.
Yeah, no kidding.
At least 2 months too late. This is bad. This is
Right.
so late.
Massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day. And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. The leadership of the Israelites say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now.
Two-state solution.
So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there's nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Oh, he did say that. Okay. I when I first watched this, he didn't even say God protect our troops. I guess I totally missed that. Yeah, because he always ends off with that. Well, I think it was a decent enough address, honestly. I was overall impressed. Obviously there are nitpicks, and we ironed them out. But yeah, we'll see. I hope he puts his money where his mouth is, because there's a lot of promise for sure. But we'll see.
Do you think this performance at the State of the Union changes anything for our plans to substitute Biden with either Gavin or Gretchen?
I think it kind of does. I don't think that Biden is ready to go. I don't think that he is willing to give up his current position. I think he has been, if anything, that this address shows that he has been really busy behind the scenes and is just not showing his full hand. Because if he is being this genuinely energetic and even a little confrontational, then I think he's still hungry. Despite,
can he get through the campaign though?
That's the thing. If he, clearly he showed a lot of desire to implement even more of his agenda, get the job done, so to speak. He feels like he's not even like close to being finished yet. So if that's the case, then I think a replacement at the convention would be a futile effort. It pains me to say that, um, but just given the State of the Union, it kind of flips a whole. It kind of really did change my mind about that a lot. I mean, I still have my reservations. Do not get me wrong.
Sure.
I still don't think that he's the right choice. I still don't think that he's the future of the Democratic Party. I still don't think that he deserves a second term. But given the circumstances now, like I don't think he's just going to give away his position or resign or offer to be exchanged by another candidate come the convention.
All right. It feels like the replacement theory proposal that we've been talking about is a lot less likely, but it might be the recency effect. Just gave this speech.
Sure. I mean, a lot could change. Obviously, it's still just barely March. Yeah.
Yeah, and if his polling numbers are really tanking going into the convention, I mean, we get caught up in the moment in this country, just like children do. We get caught up in the moment, and we sometimes let the moment get the best of us.
Of course.
So
yeah.
I don't, Kamala Harris is a perfect example of that. I mean, should she really have been the VP pick? Was there not? I mean, maybe there weren't better options. I don't know. We'd have to go into that again, although I think our audience would find it terribly boring, so we won't.